Breaking news. Michael Jordan is good at simple math, proving he knows that 5 is greater than 3. Welcome to SI Now. It's Thursday, August 3rd. I'm Robin Lundberg, joined by Mark Malusis. Yesterday, MJ said he would take Kobe over LeBron all time. I'm assuming this is both guys with both legs. His reasoning being Kobe's 5 titles to LeBron's 3. Moose, you think Jordan said this because ring count is the argument most used to support him?
To an extent, but I also think he's trolling. I mean, people are biting across the country because it's Michael Jordan and what he has to say, Robin. But yeah, I think that's how you decipher greatest quarterbacks of all time, greatest players of all time. You look at the individualized sports, and especially when you look at the NBA and the National Football League, and especially when you look at the greatest players of all time in the NBA, and if you're looking at quarterbacks in the National Football League, that seems to be the thing that people often point to if you're a winning quarterback or how many championships you won as an individual in the NBA.
To me, this is 3 things. The first thing with Michael Jordan is we can't trust him as a talent evaluator, right? I mean, the track record speaks for itself. No team he's managed has ever even
won a
Kwame
Brown
playoff series, right? The second thing is I do believe there's something about Kobe he probably admires to a certain degree because Kobe patterned his entire game around Michael Jordan.
Kobe was a killer. I mean, not on the court. I mean, that is what he was. I mean, Kobe Bryant spoke like Michael Jordan, inflected like Michael Jordan post-game press conferences, really mimicked everything he was, and he was a finisher at the end of the game. The biggest knock on LeBron James at times, Robin, has been more if he's a facilitator like Magic Johnson and not necessarily like Michael Jordan, where he was an assassin.
But Kobe did pattern everything he did, as you mentioned, around Michael Jordan. He's really the closest facsimile to Michael Jordan that we've ever seen. The idea that he's a better finisher than LeBron is actually a myth. If we look it up statistically, it's just like
ball in
a
hands,
feeling.
wanting the ball in the hands, not dishing it off to Kevin Love in the NBA Finals. That's the big. Listen, I don't think it's a big knock on LeBron James, but I think there has been people that have looked at that and said, well, if you're LeBron James, you're the best player in the world. You're taking the last shot, and LeBron doesn't look at it that way because he sees the entire court. Kobe's never given the ball up late.
The problem with LeBron is the 2011 Finals. That's the one true black mark on his career, and I think his poor performance, which was objectively poor in that series, got extrapolated over to the rest of his career when it actually hasn't been true. He's actually been, knocked down in clutch moments at those points. But the third thing I want to say about this is I do believe Michael Jordan is trying to reignite, in a sense, the Kobe-LeBron debate. Because the Kobe-LeBron debate is over. There's not really a position for Kobe here. And no one is arguing Kobe versus Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan knows that LeBron is a threat and Kobe isn't. So by elevating Kobe with this comment, he is, in a sense, cementing his own legacy further.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that's a fair take, and I think when Michael Jordan has something to say, people do listen and people do react. And when he's talking about the history of the game or players in the game, people are going to react as we are today right here on SI Now. The fact, though, remains, Robin, is we all know this. Logically, if you look at the two players, there is no debate between LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. Look at regular season MVPs, LeBron 4, Kobe 1. NBA Finals MVPs, LeBron 3, Kobe Bryant 2. Even look at the regular season statistically speaking. If you want to focus in on individually, LeBron James has averaged more points per game over the course of his career than Kobe Bryant did. So there really is no tangible debate aside from the championships, but LeBron went to 7 straight NBA Finals. I know Kobe Bryant won 5 rings. However, LeBron did something that Kobe and Michael never did.
And that's part of the problem, I think, sometimes with the stance people who are advocating for Michael Jordan take, because there is way more to the Jordan argument than just the rings, right? Michael Jordan was an unbelievable player. But I think by sometimes making it as simple as the rings argument, they devalue that, and it makes it easier to make the case for LeBron, as I've done in the past. With Kobe, it really is the only argument against LeBron, and it doesn't hold up against the individual achievements, the team achievements, the records, so on and so forth.
And listen, we've been watching sports long enough. I mean, you got NBA fans, sports fans. It doesn't matter. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry across the country, use your eyes. I mean, you watch a Kobe game, you watch a LeBron James game, you watch exactly, and they were both good defenders. LeBron a little bit differently, a little bit better of a help defender, blocking shots down low as compared to Kobe Bryant. And the rules did change over the course of their respective careers in the NBA of what you could be allowed to do defensively. But also, let's pass the eyeball test. When you watch both players play, better impact, overall greater impact on said game, it was LeBron James as compared to Kobe Bryant. And I don't really even, you can look at the championships all you want, and then you debate who they were going up against, who's on their team, how good their team was, how great the NBA was at that time. So it really is a minimalistic argument to just say, well, Kobe's got 5 rings, LeBron's got 3. To me, the argument's asinine.
It's no slight to Kobe. He's a top 10-ish player of all
no doubt,
time.
yeah.
But LeBron James, by almost any measure, is a top 5 player of all time, wherever you want to put him.
Yeah, no question about it. And listen, Michael's being Michael. You know, he is going to go out there and he's going to say the stuff he said about LeVar Ball, and you're exactly right. What he did was, let me get all the debate off my back about myself and LeBron James. Let me bait the water, chum the water a little bit. I'm not going to make it about me and LeBron. Let's make it about LeBron and Kobe Bryant and let people chew on that for a little bit. How about Knicks star Kristaps Porzingis told NBA.com that he considers New York home and hopes to spend his entire career with the Knicks and would like to have Carmelo Anthony back this season. We shall see. Porzingis also revealed he is amazed by Conor McGregor, Robin, and is trying to improve his mental side, confidence, and trash talking by studying the UFC star. Great. Couple things off of this, Robin. Do you believe him that he wants to remain with the Knicks? And do you think Porzingis is ready to be, quote unquote, the guy in New York?
Yeah, I think both of those things are true. Phil Jackson getting out of town probably gave him a bit of a renewed vigor, because who would have thought when he was drafted, he said he always wanted to play for the Knicks, right?
Right.
It would only take a year and a half for him to basically be like, I'm done with this dysfunction. So you can reset that. He took a little bit of a shower and he's back, and we'll see how long it takes before the dysfunction, dirties him up again.
Yes.
But at this moment, I do believe he wants to be a part of the Knicks. And as far as being the guy, if they change the offense, if they play a more wide-open offense, I do think he's ready. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis, in 138 games, already has more three-pointers than Reggie Miller did in his first 138 games, and more blocks than Dwight Howard did in his first 138 games. So I think we have to see what he can do. To me, he's at his best when he's playing further away from the basket on offense and closer to the basket on defense.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that second point. First point, though, you're exactly right. I mean, it's the here and now, right? He's happy Phil's gone. He's happy with the direction of the Knicks moving forward here. And he's a happy camper right now, working out with Dirk Nowitzki, one of his favorite players of all time. All that is great. Now, could a year from now, could he be spinning a different tale? Absolutely. 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. I think Porzingis hopes to be the guy in New York, live up to all the expectations, and be a monumental star. However, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I think right now he's happy to be in New York, especially with Jackson being gone. In terms of being the guy, the question is, can he be the guy with Carmelo Anthony still being a part of this team? Because in that NBA.com piece, in that interview, he still wants Carmelo to be here. And Carmelo is a guy that's willing to waive his no-trade clause right now to go to the Houston Rockets. They can't work out a deal and get a third team involved. But can the Knicks turn this franchise over, Robin, with number 7 being a part of this team? I'm not so sure they can.
Well, it's a story that continues to be the same until it actually changes when it comes to where Carmelo's playing. We've been talking NBA, a league with some parallels to the rap game. I went over some of the hottest topics in the sports world with one of the dopest rappers ever, Jadakiss. Joined now by one of the best spitters in rap history, Mr. Jadakiss. I don't know if I should call you Jadakiss, Kiss, J to the moi. How do we do that exactly?
Whatever suits you. Whatever suits you better.
All right.
You know what I mean? Whatever you feel suitable.
You're known way back in the day, top 5 just off one LP. You've had more since then, your latest LP, top 5 Dead or Alive. So I thought we'd go through 5 of the current topics percolating in sports and get your thoughts on them. Kyrie's demand for a trade and wanting to not play with LeBron James. Jadakiss, thoughts on that?
I think he might be overdoing it a little bit. Because, but we don't know. There's always 3 sides to every story. Kyrie's, LeBron's, and then the actual real story. But I think maybe he knows something that we don't know, that Bron is going to leave, and he just want to get an earlier start with, with whatever team he's going to be in. But personally, I think he should just stay to whenever LeBron leaves and then leave when he leaves.
Well, if he wanted his own team, even if LeBron left, he'd be in that spot. What's interesting to me is he's in a really good position.
Space, yeah. Most people in the world would die to be in his space, and he's dying to get out of there, so I can't really figure that one out.
It's hard to get more famous. He's on the cover of NBA 2K, right?
Everywhere possibly you can be in the greatest space. I mean, that's how me and you feel, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes over there in the Cleveland locker room.
You know, if somebody's asking you to lay a verse, you know, a great is asking you to lay a verse on their record, you're not
That's
saying,
a no-brainer.
no, I need a solo.
Unless I know something, unless I know something.
All right. How about Colin Kaepernick? Still not signed by any team in the NFL. What are your thoughts on that?
With the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, it's like a 50-50 for me because I'm with him. I'm with him totally, but he should have thought about the repercussions of, not standing for the flag. He should have knew becoming an unrestricted free agent or not taking the money, whatever San Francisco was ordering, and then thinking he was going to be able to go out there and just get on the team. He should have knew it was going to be some repercussions. So I hope he gets on the team, but on the same token, he knew from, his actions last year that, the NFL's a private-owned business, and, it's a double-edged sword. You either play by the rules or you get what you get.
Isn't that part of what taking a stance is actually about, though, having to do it despite the ramifications?
Definitely. I mean, I'm with him 100%. Whatever he believes in, you're supposed to fight for your rights, but then you're asking for a job. So, I don't know how you gauge that.
What about the idea that there are other guys who have done far more egregious things than Kaepernick, because he hasn't done anything actually wrong, who get put on NFL teams all the time?
That's the gist of sports politics, though. It's bigger than the eye. It's bigger than you can imagine. It's meetings that you'll never be able to get into that, they discuss them kind of things. So, it's business at the end of the day, and you gotta play by the rules sometime or they'll oust you.
McGregor have any chance in that fight?
I think the Mayweather-McGregor fight will be I think it'll be entertaining. A lot of my friends want me to go. I really don't want to waste the money on outfit and flights and all of that when I kind of think I know what's going to happen. Yeah. I'd rather just watch it at home.
Yeah, but it costs an outfit and a flight to watch it at home anyway, right?
Yeah.
LeVar Ball, the fame and notoriety he's achieved.
I think LeVar Ball did a great job because even though some people might take him as making obnoxious statements, his overall job, what he was trying to do was brand the big baller brand and get his son out there and get the talking, going. So with him winning MVP, Zoe winning MVP of the Summer League, I think everything is falling into pieces. His dad will get quieter as the carpet rolls out. I think you'll see his dad fall back because he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish.
Even though he even got MJ to respond to him.
That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
You can get MJ to speak on you publicly in a press conference. That's an accomplishment. Even though it might have not been, you might not said the nicest thing in the world about you, but you still, how many people can get MJ to mention it?
Finally, Allen Iverson got suspended one game by the Big Three for no showing. He's had some troubles throughout his career. Some people a little taken aback that this happened right now. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Definitely, I'm a little bit upset and disappointed at that. I have a good relationship with Allen. We did a few commercials together. It's bigger than sports or bigger than music. We can really talk to each other as brothers and men. So I'm gonna reach out to him and see what really happened. I don't really know the whole story of why he missed it, but I know, like we said, with the same situation as Colin Kaepernick, in this business, they ain't gonna keep giving you too many chances. So once this Big Three was a good look for him, you can't mess this kind of thing up. So I'm gonna reach out to him and speak to him on a personal level and hope, he just get back on track. We need him. We need everything to be smooth.
Those are the top 5 sports topics of the moment with Jadakiss, top 5, dead or alive. Real quick, before I let you get out of here, do you have a favorite sports reference in rap lyrics, or is it one of your own, like I make bucks like Milwaukee, like Sam I could sell?
Oh, I think Biggie said he was like Mike, anyone, Tyson, Jordan, Action, Jackson.
Game 6, right? The legendary Jadakiss. Appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
The NFL is back, and that means fantasy football. Valuable players moved around this offseason, but are they still fantasy gold? If Adrian Peterson wants to get back his sterling fantasy reputation, he'll need to bounce back from an injury-plagued 2016. It might be easier in the Big Easy than in Minnesota, because Drew Brees will pull men out of the box. Brandon Marshall went from gangrene to Big Blue. Eli is an upgrade on Ryan Fitzpatrick, but Odell Beckham Jr. and first-round pick Evan Ingram will likely swipe targets. Alshon Jeffrey followed the draft, moving from Chicago to Philly. He'll be a number one option in the city of brotherly love, but he'll need QB Carson Wentz to avoid another late-season slump. Deshaun Jackson headed south from D.C. to Tampa Bay. He'll play second fiddle to Mike Evans for the Bucs, but Jameis Winston will have no problem uncorking deep balls for the speedy wideout. Marty Saurus Rex won a ring and then bolted New England for the other title town. Aaron Rodgers is an elite quarterback, but will surely spread the ball around to Nelson, Adams, and Bennett. The Pats gave the Saints their first-round pick for Brandon Cooks, so expect him to see a lot of balls. Then again, Belichick is known for using stars as decoys to give no-names free run. Now go draft the winner.
Mark, to me, the standout names there, not necessarily from an upside point of view, but from a safe point of view, are Brandon Marshall and Martellus Bennett, because they've been consistent producers throughout their career wherever they've gone, and they're both going to a situation with a reliable quarterback.
Right, reliable quarterback where you know both are red zone threats as well. I mean, Marshall's going to be a guy that can go out there and get it in right when the Giants hit the red zone 20-yard line. You know Eli Manning's going to want to go out there and throw the fade, and historically speaking, you look at Aaron Rodgers loves throwing to his tight ends. He can make a stud out of anybody. He can make a stud of you and I. So Martellus Bennett has been a very, very productive tight end ever since being drafted at A&M by the Dallas Cowboys. And he's a guy that's a two-way player, and I think he will be very, very productive for Green Bay. I'll give you a couple guys. How about Eddie Lacy? Eddie Lacy, a couple years ago for the Green Bay Packers, was a top 5 running back in fantasy football. Now, put on weight, a little wear and tear, got used and abused at Alabama. I'm not telling you he's going to have a great long career. Can I see Eddie Lacy now trimmed down, losing weight, being the workhorse running back for Pete Carroll up there with Russell Wilson? Absolutely. I think Lacy is a guy that's going to fly under the radar. He will win that running back's job, and he's going to be a guy to lean on. Another guy mentioned at the end of the piece, Brandon Cooks is going to be a stud for the New England Patriots. I get they make stars out of no names up there in Foxborough, Robin, but they brought him up there for an absolute reason. A healthy Gronkowski. You have Edelman up there. Brandon Cooks can line them up all over the field. You know McDermott's going to be very, very creative with them offensively. Brandon Cooks is going to be an absolute stud. I would imagine he's going to have over 90 receptions this upcoming year. How about a little fantasy running back? And who doesn't love some rookie running backs in fantasy football? Andrew Perloff drops some knowledge and gets you prepared for your fantasy drafts.
One of the key fantasy debates every year, how much do I invest in rookie running backs? It's especially key this year because it's a deep and talented class. Now this is a position that can hit in a big way in the first year. Look at Ezekiel Elliott in 2016. We knew about him, but who saw Jordan Howard coming for the Bears? This season we know about first rounders like Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey, but things get very interesting after that. It's going to be a very deep class and a lot of guys are going to push for playing time immediately. Pay extra close attention to these 5 rookie backs in training camp. Number 1, Joe Mixon, Bengals. Character doesn't count in fantasy football. It's all about the numbers. An early word out of Cincinnati, Mixon is very good. Now you have to watch what they already have there. Jeremy Hill, bit of a disappointment over the last couple of years. Doesn't get it done in the red zone. A real opportunity here for Mixon. Plus he can play all 3 downs. Number 2, Dalvin Cook. Cook is a guy that some draft experts think could be the best player in this class. Now this is an offense that values running backs and collects a lot of numbers. If Cook can do things like pick up the blitz and he can catch passes, he could be very productive. Number 3, Kareem Hunt. This is another situation to watch the incumbent closely. Spencer Ware disappointed a lot of owners late in the season in 2016. Hunt ran for a ton of yards at Toledo and seems to gel well with the Chiefs offense. They're saying great things about the rookie. If he wins this job under Andy Reid, there are a lot of points to be had. Number 4, Samaje Perine. Overshadowed Oklahoma by Mixon last year, Perine may have landed in the exact right spot. He'll go up against last year's rookie surprise, Rob Kelly. Skins are a little bit thinner at wide receiver, and tight end Jordan Reed is always getting hurt, so they might have to rely on the running game. If they do that, and Perine wins the job, you do not want to miss out. Number 5, Deontay Foreman. Okay, we have some character concerns here. Foreman was arrested on charges of possession of marijuana and an unlawful gun. But if Foreman gets his act together, he could be a true thunder to Lamar Miller's Lightning in the Texans' backfield. There are some who even think that the former Texans back could overtake Miller at some point this season. Those are my top guys, but I'm watching plenty of others. I see you, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, Jamal Williams, Marlon Mack. There are a lot of guys. It's an incredibly deep class. If there's any injury and there's a rookie behind them, trust me, you do not want to miss out.
Good list there by Perloff. To me, the conversation begins with Leonard Fournette, the former LSU star. I thought he was bored at the end of his college career for the Tigers. Wade is down. He's going to be the workhorse. They're going to lean on him, take the focus away from Blake Bortles for Doug Marrone down there in Jacksonville. And then Joe Mixon, I'm not telling you he's a good guy. Terrible character concerns. Very, very talented. I think he's going to prove to be a game breaker year one for the Bengals.
As the league continues to move more and more to being almost like exclusively a passing league in a lot of ways, right? I tend to favor the guys who can catch the ball out of the backfield, especially if it's a PPR league. Kareem Hunt, I like him with Kansas City. Very good team. Andy Reid teams can rack up points. And Alex Smith never throws to the wide receivers, so therefore the running back could be the beneficiary. And Christian McCaffrey with Cam Newton, who tends to find his guys that he really trusts and then feed them, plus running backs who play with a quarterback who's running that option. You know there's a lot of potential for big plays there.
McCaffrey's options, what you can do with him in the kick return, punt return, what you can also do catching the ball coming out of the backfield, run the spread down there in Carolina a little bit. He's going to be an absolute star for the Panthers.
Actor James Van Beek is a Dodgers fan, so you think he'd be thrilled at the moment. Well, he isn't. Here's why.
Hey, I'm James Van Beek, currently in What Would Diplo Do on Viceland. And I'm an LA Dodgers fan. Okay, I have one thing to say to Dodger ownership. You're not going to like it. It's not going to be easy. But it comes from the heart, and this is from a true fan. You guys have done so many things right. You've gotten the right players. You've made some of the right trades. You've done everything great. The stadium experience is fantastic. You have to let people who live in Los Angeles watch the Dodgers on TV. I know there's a deal. I know you guys made a deal with somebody else and they're making a deal, whatever. The bottom line is we can't watch the Dodgers on TV. I have to follow the Dodgers on Instagram. Do you know how unfulfilling it is to follow your favorite sports team on Instagram? And don't tell me that, oh, just go get a different cable provider, because I like my cable provider. I want to be able to watch the Dodgers on TV. If you guys have to give back a little bit of money to make that happen, or somehow get in and just convince people to put your team on TV, please do it. Somebody do it. It's been years now. I missed Vin Scully's last year as a broadcaster. A lot of us did. The vast majority of us did. We can't even watch them on a Sunday game on ESPN. That can't be good for your fan base, guys. My son does not watch Dodger games with me on TV because they're not on the TV. I've taken him to the stadium. Guys, it's time. It's time. Got to put the Dodgers on TV. Thank you. Hey, I'm James Van Beek, starring in What Would Diplo Do on Viceland on Thursdays. Check it out. If you can't find Viceland, go to Viceland.com and then go to their channel finder. It'll tell you how to find it. If you don't have cable, steal your parents' password. If your parents won't give you their password, you can watch it on Sling TV or Apple TV. Oh, and I'm an LA Dodger fan.
Nice job there by Van Beek. The Tigers, meanwhile, Robin, play starter Justin Verlander on revocable waivers. It is August. Should not be stunning news, as Verlander is owed $28 million each of the next 2 seasons. Has struggled this year, going 6-7, 4.29 ERA. Waiver trade deadline is in MLB, is August 31st. Do you think the former Cy Young winner, Robin, American League MVP, do you think he gets moved?
It depends on what would have to be done to make it happen. I mean, he was sort of available at the trade deadline to the point where he's taking a selfie in the locker room to say, I still play for the team,
yes,
right?
That's exactly
so
right.
That shows you the demand wasn't high enough to give whatever they were asking. So that's going to have to come down in this transaction. But he's a guy that would definitely be on my radar, given his experience. Yeah, he's at the tail end of his career. Maybe his prime is a little bit over with, but he may be able to dip back into what is his best stuff in the biggest moments for a couple sporadic starts for a team in contention.
Yeah, here's the rub for the Tigers. He's getting overpaid for the player that he is right now. And I understand last year he could have won the Cy Young in the American League. Struggling right now. I'd be uncomfortable if I was a team giving up anything of significant value and still owing him $56 million the rest of this year and $56 million next 2 years.
MLB saves leader Greg Holland of the Rockies wasn't able to save himself from injury in the kitchen and is day-to-day after injuring his finger in a household mishap. Baseball, notorious for its odd injuries. Here's a look at just a few. Baseball has some of those injuries that either happen due to maybe stupidity or somebody being out of shape. I've never heard myself sneezing.
I forgot that's the one I was going to reference. I forgot the Sosa one, pulling a ligament in his back, sneezing. But must have been some sneeze.
The question on the field, does this have any implications on the wild card race as Colorado tied at the top spot?
Yeah, if it was more significant, they're telling you it's day-to-day. We'll see if it's day-to-day for Holland, who's been fantastic, 33 saves, under 2 ERA. They still have some margin for error. They've got a 5.5-game lead in the wild card in the National League over the Brewers. Cardinals are 7.5 games back, so they're still secure right now in that number 2 spot in the wild card.
I agree with you. I mean, it seems minor. The one hiccup would be it is his pitching hand, so perhaps get aggravated as the season goes along. Legendary wrestling announcer Jim Ross speculates business might be picking up for the WWE as he writes in his blog that we could be hearing UFC light heavyweight champion John Bones Jones music at WWE events in the future. Would this be a good move for Jones?
Why not? Who doesn't want to get paid? But, you know, he's the light heavyweight champ in the UFC. So until the UFC, and he did say down the line, so potentially it could happen. I know he called out Brock Lesnar after his victory over Cormier over the course of the weekend, and that it would be a UFC fight, 7 figures for both guys. And Lesnar, we know, has gone back to the UFC before. I think down the line, no doubt about it. You saw Ken Shamrock go to the WWE. Can you see John Bones Jones? Absolutely.
Yeah, but he's still probably the best mixed martial artist in the world. So until that wanes a little bit, you'll probably see him there. But it is a good pivot, and it would be a good way to make some money. Speaking of money, over the past week or so, the future of Brazilian soccer star Neymar has been the subject of international intrigue. Now we know he will be leaving FC Barcelona to join PSG, a deal that will reportedly cost the club nearly 500 million euros between transfer fee and annual salary. I had a chance to go over the ramifications of the move with Brian Strauss, who wrote this week's Sports Illustrated cover story about the transcendent striker. Brian, you spent time with Neymar earlier this summer. How surprised are you that this is happening, given the financial implications and that the World Cup is just a year away?
It is surprising for a few reasons. I mean, Neymar is very conscious about his place in the global pecking order and his sort of destiny to be the next great Brazilian soccer icon. He's got the World Cup on his mind. He's got, chasing Ronaldo and Messi to be the best player in the world on his mind. So with all of that on his plate coming up next season, to make this move to a club that, while very rich and very ambitious, has never come close to winning the Champions League and plays in a league that's pretty far inferior to La Liga, it's surprising until you look at the money involved, and then you'd probably go play anywhere for that kind of sum. So it'll be really interesting to see how he handles the pressure, the stress, the spotlight when he has to be the guy. Because obviously when you're playing with Barcelona, if you're not having your best game, well, you've got the likes of Messi and Luis Suarez and Andres Iniesta to help pick up for you.
Beyond money, why would he want to leave Barca and join PSG?
The only thing I can think of is to sort of hasten that rise I was talking about. You know, he knows what's expected of him. He knows what his destiny is. And by going to PSG, he becomes the focal point. He becomes the guy that every game, every night, especially in the European matches, has to be the one to put the team on his shoulders and make those around him better. And that's not something he faces at Barcelona. So in a way, if he's doing it to sort of challenge himself, if he's doing it to hasten his rise to be the best player in the world, give him credit for that, because he can prove that at PSG. If he takes PSG to a European title, he can make a statement about him as a talisman that he could never make at Barcelona playing behind Lionel Messi.
Can you put into perspective the magnitude of a move like this for a player like Neymar?
I mean, financially, it's the biggest player transaction in the history of sports. It more than doubles the previous soccer transfer record, which was Paul Pogba's move to Manchester United. And then on top of the $250 million release clause, you've got $30+ million, $40 million, whatever it is in annual salary. And then you're going to have all the endorsements and things like that he's going to rake in. It's an astonishing amount of money. It's life-changing, generational money.
Do you think it is the right thing for his career?
We'll find out. It's brave. It's a brave move. And I respect they've never been a team that's been bigger than the sum of its parts. They've never had a team that's had championship chemistry. That's where Neymar's going. So to go there and to change a culture and transform that team into one of the powerhouses would be an immense accomplishment, and not something he could possibly do at Barcelona. But it's also a hell of a lot harder. So then there's no guarantee it'll work. So it's pretty brave.
What is Neymar's legacy at Barcelona?
I don't think he'll have much of one, to be honest. I mean, he was only there for a few years. You know, he was there at a time when there were better players, more dynamic players. So I don't know that he'll have much of a legacy. But Neymar's legacy now will be written by what he does at PSG and what he does at the next 2 World Cups.
With this move, what are the chances, do you think, he could be considered on par with Messi and Ronaldo?
Neymar had a ton of work to do anyway to overhaul these guys. Now he has even more. But in a sense, ironically, the path is clearer. If he lifts PSG into that echelon, if he takes this club somewhere where it's never been, then you have to put him on the par, at least now, of Ronaldo and Messi. But it's a really tall order.
Brian, appreciate the time, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
Finally, Tom Brady turns 40 today. How many more birthdays do you think he'll celebrate as an NFL player?
I think 3. Why would you leave now? The team's loaded. I mean, they're not going anywhere. And he's still throwing the football as well as he did 10, 12 years ago. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair over-under. All right, so let's say the over-under is set at 3.
At 3.
Are you taking the over or the under?
I take the over. I don't know. For some reason, I don't think Brady's ever going to retire, Robin. Do you?
It doesn't feel like that, right? I mean, the way he came back against the Falcons, the way he's still putting up MVP numbers. If you're rooting against the Patriots, it definitely doesn't feel like Tom Brady is ever going to retire. We will retire for today. Make sure you catch SI Now again tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Mark Malusis, thanks for joining me today. And follow us on SI Now Live, at SI Now Live, and stay locked to SI.com. Have a great day.